Hello, everyone. Come on in, sit on down. It's time for another episode of the Truther Therapy Sessions, episode 91. Only 9 away from 100. I'm gonna have to do some kind of 100 episode special or something on it. I have no idea what. I have nothing planned. No ideas yet lined up. Maybe I'll look into getting a special guest of some kind. To surprise you all. I promise it won't be JT follows JC again this time. We'll mix it up a little bit, you know. Who knows what's going to happen on the 100th episode? But I feel like a celebration might be in order. To do 100 of anything, I feel, is a tedious, long, grueling journey and a feat worth celebrating. And the thing is, it flies by so fast because I say that it's been 14 years of doing these shows to get there. But I did have like a 5-year break in between, so you know it is what it is. It certainly adds up, doesn't it? Well, there's 52 weeks in a year, one show a week, so 2 years is how long it should take. It took me 14 years, but you know we got there in the end. Anyway, it's good. It's good. Maybe when we're rounding the 100 episodes of the Truth of Therapy Sessions, perhaps we'll maybe making ourselves to the 100,000 mark of subscribers on YouTube as well. Wouldn't that just align very perfectly if that was the case? We'll see. Probably not. That's probably not where it's going. We'll see if I even make it to 100,000. And if I do make it to 100,000, I'm sure many of you will start to unsubscribe because I'm now obviously a shill. There's just no denying it, you know. You don't get to 100,000 unless you've sold out, so that's just the way it goes. We all know that, right? We've all seen it. It's got to be true. It's funny because when you do get like this many subscribers on the YouTube channel, you know, and I when I started this channel, I did not think it would be what it is or come to what it's come to, or a community would get built in the way it got built, or the Telegram would exist, or I'd have a book, or any of this. I did not anticipate myself ending up where I am. And now that I'm here, it's kind of like I laugh at my earlier self when I was first on YouTube, saying things like, oh, the people, big channels don't get to be big on YouTube unless they've sold out, you know. And now I'm actually here, I'm like, well, damn, it's not. It turns out that's just not true at all. It's just an algorithm game and a look of the draw. So if anyone's an aspiring budding YouTuber out there who's in the conspiracy game, I would say to you, give it a go. You literally never know how it's all going to turn out. It's completely arbitrary, and It's not as mysterious as it seems. It literally is just YouTube wants money, you make content. If people watch your content, you can keep it up because you're making them money. That's it. I think that's as simple as it gets. And if you play the game a little bit, and by that I mean just don't say anything outrageously ridiculous at any point, you might get lucky enough that no one ever flags you, and then you'll be fine. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying now. I'm tired. If you can't tell, guys, on the video, if you listen to audio only on Spotify or Apple, you probably can't see this. But my eyes are like bloodshot red. I just saw them in the bathroom then before starting this show. I'm like, what is going on? And they do feel like achy, like heavy. And I have no idea why. So I'm nursing like a frontal lobe behind the eyelids headache for some reason. And it kind of just only came on before I started this show, when just as I was about to start this show, which is pretty bloody typical. Maybe it's because of the subject matter of today's show. I don't know what it is. But we're going to be talking about some heavy stuff, some pretty heavy stuff, and stuff I'm not exactly well versed on, stuff I am not going to have answers to or be a leading expert on. And I might not necessarily bring you the greatest take or information on this, but I think it's something we just kind of need to acknowledge and discuss and bring to the table as a reality of the world we live in today, and that is of assisted suicide. And it does seem like it's spreading across primarily the Western Anglosphere, shall we say, the Western world, Europe, Canada, Australia, some parts and states of America. I think quite a lot of countries in Europe are going through it. Some are pushing back, some aren't. Regions here and there, pockets are arising where this is becoming kind of like the norm now, where people are legally allowed to kill themselves, and people are allowed to legally assist in helping people to do that. And look, morality-wise, I'm not here to say that there aren't strong cases to justify this. I think there are. And it's kind of the arguments that are often posed and posited for those who are suffering is that we are suffering and we want we just want it to end already. Like terminal cases where they are already going to die, there is no hope of survival. And to get to that stage of death, they have to suffer before they get there a lot. And some of them, in their own mind, have resigned to the idea, well, if I can end it with dignity, if I can take my own life and end on my own terms, and to stop the suffering sooner and to alleviate the burden on my family, then I should have that right and that choice to make that choice. And again, that's a pretty solid argument, isn't it? When you really think about it, it's a tough one to argue against. Like, you'd have a hard time convincing anybody that they don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to that. And I get it. I do. I really do. In those type of scenarios, yeah, it does seem like perhaps it seems like the right thing to do, doesn't it? But then you look at a country like Canada, who's kind of been rolling with this assisted suicide, and those were the early arguments to let it in. It'll help those who are suffering greatly to alleviate those moments in their last moments of life. They can get to take the choice and have some control over how they choose to go out of this world, pain-free and with their heads held high with dignity, as a choice. But you look at like the results of this, and we've heard lots of scare stories coming out, especially over about a year ago. There was a lot of these articles and stories coming out that were kind of saying Canada was just offering suicide to people as an option because they were feeling a bit sad. And I know it sounds like a meme or a caricature, doesn't it? But I swear there were stories coming out where it's like someone went in with to a therapist saying, "I'm just depressed. Everything's terrible. My life is really, really bad right now. I've lost my job. My dog died. My wife's left me." And it's kind of like I'm just feeling really upset and down and struggling to see color in life anymore. And the therapist and the doctor there said, "Have you considered suicide?" Like, that's just the go-to. It's going, "Oh, you've considered, why don't you just kill yourself?" And it's kind of, it sounds extreme, but I believe that's kind of inevitably where that led to, that type of thought process, those types of, they get in through the door through the sob stories and they appeal to emotion. And then once it's established, it seems like it's just used as a means to just cull the population easily and readily, and without any pushback from authority. And it's kind of some people who just, maybe doctors who consider like, well, this is more work than it's cut out for this elderly person, the palliative care we're going to have to give for them. Maybe we should just tell them maybe you should just kill yourself. You're just a burden. Like, stop it. Like, just go and end it already. And it's like a line gets crossed. How far does it go once you cross that line? And how much are we going to become desensitized to the idea of just ending somebody's life because it's utilitarian, it's useful, It's just, it makes no logical sense for you to continue to live because you can't walk anymore. What use are you going to be to society? It's that type of stuff. And it's kind of, most people be like, yeah, well, yeah, that's fair enough. You're right. Yeah. But what was I thinking carrying on my life? I am a burden to everybody. I am useless to society. I'm just a drain. So I might as well just kill myself, And I feel like a lot of these ideas, and how we even got to a position where this is just kind of becoming the norm, and it's just the start of it becoming the norm. There's still pushback, there's still people arguing, crying, screaming about it, and kind of saying, no, this is wrong, and standing up morally and saying this is a huge slippery slope that can lead to some terrible things. This does not abide by our country's laws whatsoever. There are people who are assisting people in dying who are being arrested for doing that because they're doing it illegally, And it's kind of like, it's been like framed and presented as like an underground movement of freedom fighters who are fighting the man and the law to make real social change in our society, and had their backs up against it the whole time, and were persecuted for just trying to bring people some peace in their last moments. And it's kind of, they're being staged as like heroes wherever you find like articles about these things, but there are like other people that were really saying like, no, this is a bad idea still. So we are in the start. It's not like the norm. Most of the world doesn't agree with this, but there are like places, like it's like being trialed in places. And what just happened in the UK, I think we've all heard about this, is that the right to assisted suicide bill or something like that has been passed in our parliament. And I think under extremely rigid circumstances, once ticked off by a psychotherapist, a doctor, and under strict supervision, and only in extreme terminally ill cases can now the elderly kill themselves or something like that. I think it's like a very convoluted, big, like, terms of service type of situation, but it's done now. A line's been crossed, and then red tape will get removed as time goes on. And then I feel like it's like a joke, like a cosmic joke, because 20 years ago, we would laugh at this concept of having a future where suicide booths are just the norm. And we've all seen Futurama, I'm sure, growing up, set in the year 3000. And it's like, it's not the year... Looking back, it's aged terribly, because it's kind of like, we have all that technology pretty much, other than flying cars and the tube transport system. Most of what was discussed and talked about as sort of societal concepts in that show are borderline close to what we've got today. And this idea that you can just pay to very quickly kill yourself in a booth on the side street like a payphone is obviously an extreme caricature, absurd concept. But is the pod, which is now perfectly normal and has just become out and has been created, the Sarco Pod, is that really any different than what was predictively programmed in these shows 20 years ago? It's the same thing. And it's obviously, one's a cartoon, an over-exaggeration. The other's a harsh reality. I mean, just think about that for a second. And as conspiracy theorists, we talk a big game about predictive programming, and to have this suddenly crop up, created by somebody who's considered the Elon Musk of assisted dying, and we'll get into this soon. We'll read some Wikipedia pages about the profiles of the people involved in this, and we'll kind of lay it out. But look at this. When we really let it sink in. They told us 20 years ago, you'll be killing yourself by choice. And obviously most people who had killed themselves in the past, it was their choice to do so. But it's more like, we're going to make it easy for you. That's what this was saying symbolically. In the future, you'll easily be able to kill yourself. It won't be a chore, or you might not, you won't make a mistake or something or mess it up. We'll make sure you do it right. We'll help, and we're helping you. And for a low cost too, And it's like a service. Like, assisted suicide is killing somebody's now a service. And at the end of the day, we can call it whatever we want. Okay, and we can dress it up with flashy arguments and morality and moral standings and and appeals to emotion and whatever we want. But realistically, what this is an individual who is legally allowed to murder somebody. And that's what it comes down to. The law of man has basically preceded the law of God, which is the first, thou shalt not kill. And this is one of those moral gray areas where you do have these circumstances where the appeal to emotion is very, 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 very strong and reasonable on many levels. Like I said, the suffering, the ages, the terminal illness, the dignity aspect. And these similar arguments are also given to certain and again, this is a very controversial, sensitive subject, but things like abortion, and even that's, there are legitimate good arguments for it at the start or when they introduced these things, but now all they've done is increase the abortion age to 9 months, I believe. Is that in the UK too? So you can legally terminate your child growing inside of you up until birth. Just before birth, and I feel like there's something wildly disconnected in the minds of the modern age for that to even be considered even remotely okay on any level when it gets to that point. And the arguments are already weak prior to those, terms prior to that, but it's kind of, you cannot deny by that point that you're basically just killing a baby. You get what I mean? A human being. You're killing a human by that point. The whole "it's just an embryo, bro" argument kind of goes out the window by that point, and it's no longer that kind. It's not that simple anymore, And but the fact that it is kind of that's just passed in the news today, and it's just a passing thought, and we're moving on with our life. Don't you know there's war in the Middle East, you know? And in the meantime, AI is developing pretty fast over there, isn't it? Look at that over there. Isn't that crazy? Look at that robot do a backflip, you know? And it's it's just going to get memory hold in like a day or two. And all the videos that talked about it on YouTube will just be in the past, and no one will remember them, and they'll never get a click ever again, you know? And all the articles discussing this will just be buried into history, annals of history, and we will just move on very quickly. And I think the nihilistic, desensitized nature of our civilization right now in the West is really showing itself in a big way. And I was sat there before even starting this show, looking at the headline, looking at what I've somehow chosen to discuss, and I was just overwhelmed with like a deep sadness. Like I was literally sat here like about to cry, thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to make this show. I don't want to have to talk about this subject. And I'll tell you right now, it was a last minute choice. I did not know what I was going to be talking about an hour ago. I just sat there and looked through the news and saw these things. I was like, seriously? You know? And yeah, it was hard. It's hard. This is hard. I really don't like doing this, because I mean, what can I really say about this other than we have crossed a threshold. The line is a dot to us, to quote Joey from Friends. Let's bring some humor into this. We cannot even see the line. Like, and the thing is, we didn't even realize we passed it. We didn't even think about it. It was collectively, we are just sleepwalking through huge societal shifts on a daily basis. Major changes in viewpoints and ideas and the way society is going to function. And no one bats an eyelid, because I think, are we just looking at our phones too much, too entertained by the memes, to actually pay attention to what is shifting around us? Are we just that passive? Are we just that placated, that fat, that full, that entertained? Are we just satiated to the point of complete apathy? What happened to us? Like, I mean, I know what happened. I've been watching it for over a decade. Like, I've been following the agendas at play. This is completely by design. And if you think like 20-something, maybe 25 years ago now, Futurama did not know what they were doing when they showed you this, saying this is your future, ha ha ha, then, I mean, and you think that is not indicative that there is a plan here. And it's not all organically just happening from grassroots freedom fighters who want to bring a pain-free death to people who are held down by the religious dogma of the day, who need to move into a modern way of thinking, you know, and not held back by these primitive belief systems and moralities. And believe me, that's how they're selling it. Honestly, that's what the main proponent of this says. That's what he says. Yeah. The humanists out there, as they call themselves. What a lovely sounding name that is, eh? The humanists. Basically another word for eugenicist. That's what it is. And they just, they just change the mask. But, yeah, I don't know. It's sad. Let's just read some of these articles just to dip our toes into this idea a bit more. And I guess I'm just saying it to bring it to people's attention more than anything. And there's not much... These issues always bring people who have their moral appeals to emotion arguments to kind of back all this up as justified and to call us just backwards lunatics who just need to catch up with the times. But it's a gut thing. We know, morally speaking, we're in extremely dangerous territory here. We know that. You know that. Okay? You just pretend it's not the case and come up with some pretty sounding word salad to justify it, but we know it's all bullshit. We know this is wrong on numerous levels. Yeah. And let's just read the articles. So let me just get something up here for you quickly. So let's first talk about the Sarco Pod, shall we? This thing. Let's make sure my screen's in the right place. Close enough. There we go. So this is it. This is the assisted suicide device. The Sarco Pod, sometimes referred to as a suicide pod, is a euthanasia device or machine consisting of a 3D printed detachable capsule mounted on a stand that contains a canister of liquid nitrogen to die by suicide through inert gas asphyxiation. Sarco is short for sarcophagus. It is used in conjunction with inert gas, which decreases oxygen levels rapidly, which prevents panic, sense of suffocation, and struggling before unconsciousness, known as the hypercapnic alarm response, caused by the presence of high carbon dioxide concentrations in the blood. The Sarco was invented by euthanasia campaigner Philip Nitschke in 2017. Nitschke said in 2021 that he sought and received legal advice about the device's legality in Switzerland. The Sarco is an expansion of the hypoxic death provided by a suicide bag. Many people will not consider euthanasia by suicide bag for aesthetic reasons, or may feel claustrophobic inside a bag. Nitschke calls this the plastic bag factor. The Sarco was developed to address these objections. Access to the Sarco will be controlled by an online test to gauge mental fitness. If applicants pass, they receive an acceptance code to a Sarco device which is valid for 24 hours. Users of the Sarco can choose either a dark or transparent view from the capsule. The transparent view would be chosen if they wish to transport the machine to a particular location to see a certain vista from the machine. The inventor feels that where you die is certainly an important factor. The capsule of Sarco provides for a rapid decrease in oxygen levels while maintaining a low level of carbon dioxide. On activation, 4 litres of liquid nitrogen causes the oxygen levels to drop silently to less than 5% in less than 1 minute. According to Nitschke, the occupant presses the button and the capsule is filled with nitrogen. They then feel a bit dizzy, but will then rapidly lose consciousness and die. The design of the device was a collaboration between Nitschke and Dutch industrial designer Alexander Binnenk. Sarco is 3D printed in sections measured 1000 by 500 by 500 millimeters. The design software allows for devices of different sizes to be made according to the client's dimensions. Nitschke has said that the design is intended to resemble that of a spaceship in order to give users the feel that they are traveling to the great beyond. Nitschke planned to release the open source plans for Sarco by 2019. Thaddeus Pope, a bioethicist at the Mitchell Hamlin School of Law, probably butchered that, said the debate over Sarco may result in a new way of approaching end-of-life options by legislators, saying that might be bigger or more important than the actual Sarco itself, and that Nitschke was illustrating the limitations of the medical model and forcing us to think. Critics have described the device as just a glorified gas chamber, and others have raised concerns that it is glamorizing suicide and could lead to suicide contagions that inspire additional deaths. In 2024, the Right to Die organization, The Last Resort, announced the Sarco Pod would be used in Switzerland for the first time. In response, the cantonal doctor of Valais issued a precautionary ban on its use. On 23rd of September 2024, police in the Swiss canton of Schaffhausen arrested several people, including possibly the Last Resort CEO, Florian Willett, after a 64-year-old woman from the United States had used the machine. The public prosecutor's office for the canton announced the opening of criminal proceedings for the inducement, aiding, and abetting of suicide. On the same day, Swiss Federal Council member Elizabeth Baum-Schneider stated that the use of the Sarco Pod was incompatible with Swiss law. On 2nd of December 2024, Willett was released from police custody. On the 5th of May 2025, Willett died by suicide. So, Florian Willett, let's look here. He was a German author and pro-euthanasia activist. His father was an architect. He committed suicide when he was 14. Willett recalled being surprised when others told him his father had committed a selfish act, saying that although he was sad about his father's death, he did not think about his father had been sad. Willett initially worked in asset management before pursuing a career in science. He worked as a communications psychologist, legal scholar, and economist. As a university lecturer and academic consultant, Willett focused on behavioral economics, legal philosophy, and anthropology, with an interest in cognitive and statistical biases, in opinion and judgmental formation processes. Willett lived in Switzerland. He was a spokesperson for Dignitas, and later the president of Last Resort, the organisation which provided assisted suicide. He was also a member of Mensa. Willett was arrested on September 24th. He was accused of helping an American woman commit suicide with a Sarco Pod. Although assisted suicide is illegal in the country, it is strictly regulated. Sorry, it is legal. It is strictly regulated. The woman had been using a device called a suicide pod, produced by the company Sarco. Willett was held in pre-trial detention for 70 days, some of which was spent in solitary confinement before being released in December. In January 2025, he attempted to commit suicide at his home in Zurich, resulting in him getting hospitalized for psychiatric treatment. Willett died in Cologne on the 5th of May at the age of 47. According to the inventor of the Sarco Pod, Philip Nitschke, Willett died by assisted suicide. Nitschke further added that Willett had been traumatized by his 2024 detention. The criminal case against him was dropped after his death. Yeah, so there we go. There's the Sarco Pod. So let's look into Nitschke himself, shall we? The guy who came up with this thing. He's an Australian humanist, author, former physician, and founder and director of a pro-euthanasia group, Exit International. He campaigned successfully to have a legal euthanasia law passed in Australia's Northern Territory, and assisted 4 people in ending their lives before the law was overturned by the government of Australia. So he managed to kill 4 people before the government stepped in. Nitschke was the first doctor in the world to administer a legal, voluntary, lethal injection, after which the patient activated the syringe using a computer. So I find it interesting. It's kind of like his hands are clean because he didn't actually press the button, but he kind of gave them the means to do so. Something very legalistic about that, isn't there? Reminds me of another certain character, biblically speaking. Nitschke states that he and his group are regularly subject to harassment by authorities. So here's the stop story. You know, harassment. We're constantly harassed by the authorities. You know, so this is the freedom fighter position. And even look at his photo they've chosen here, positioning him as kind of like a serious, stern, arms folded, I'm not going to do what you tell me type of revolutionary with his Che Guevara style flat cap side hat, you know, with that side profile look. It's kind of, you know, when they position them and make them look like this, you know, they're glorifying him. They're trying to make him seem like somebody you should look up to as somebody worth looking up to in a sense. He burned his medical practicing certificate in response to what he saw as onerous conditions that violated his right to free speech. Nitschke has been referred to the media as Dr. Death, or the Elon Musk of assisted suicide. So, after badly injuring his subtalar joint, which effectively finished his career as a ranger, he began studying for a medical degree. In addition to having long been interested in studying medicine, he has suffered from hypochondria most of his adult life, and futilely hoped with his medical studies to educate himself out of the problem. Hypochondria, let me just quickly check that. I'm pretty sure is this somebody who believes that they have or worries heavily about health issues that they may not actually have. To be a hypochondriac is to constantly worry about having a serious illness all the time. So he sounds like the type of guy who would come up with something like this, doesn't he? But someone who is a hypochondriac to that extent, that has so much death anxiety, I feel like Ray Kurzweil is another example of this. Do you know who Ray Kurzweil is? So Ray Kurzweil is the person who's pushing forth to reach the singularity. He's also 77 years old, funnily enough, just like Philip Nitschke here, who is also 77 years old. I find that interesting that they're of the same age, of the same thought processes. Ray Kurzweil is also a humanist, I believe that's what he would define himself as. He's a futurist, an entrepreneur, an inventor, and his as a billionaire, someone with a lot of money, he's funding programs to try and reach a point where AI or computers or technology will reach consciousness, and then we can transfer consciousness into a machine. That's his goal. The singularity is nearer. How to create a mind. The age of spiritual machines. Transcend, intelligent machines. The singularity is near. These are his books. And he wants that desperately because he doesn't want to die. And he openly talks about his fear of death. And he hopes he lives long enough to be able to transfer his consciousness into an immortal robot body just before that happens to him. He's like a serious health nut. Everything he does on a daily basis is aimed at prolonging his life as long as possible. His diets, his drinks, his sleep patterns, everything. So I find it interesting that Philip Nitschke here is also a hypochondriac, which kind of links to why he would be somebody who would do something like this. Like his good intentions, well, we all know what they say about good intentions. And Ray Kurzweil is like, well, it'll make people live forever, creating a transhumanist body and transferring consciousness. And it's kind of the good intentions are naive to the spiritual implications usually. When you remove God from the equation and the afterlife and the spiritual realm and also the Nephilim and everything else in between, and you are solely a materialist through and through, and mankind is the only force that has to take control of their own evolution and other false concepts anyway to begin with, then inevitably it leads to these kind of outcomes and thought processes. It's the logical conclusion. It's only logical, it's that type of attitude. Anyway, he talks here how he was constantly being harassed by the police all the time. It's just non-stop for him, okay, basically. And he's always basically finding loopholes to kill people and then getting raided afterwards and playing the victim. That's basically what most of this is saying here without wasting too much time reading it all. I suggest you go to these articles and read them. So conflicts with police here, it's just one thing after another with this guy all the time. Anyway, let's get to this bit here. Views on euthanasia. Are dying with dignity. So in 2009, Nitschke said, "It seems we demand humans to live with indignity, pain and anguish, whereas we are kinder to our pets when their suffering becomes too much. It simply is not logical or mature. Trouble is, we have had too many centuries of religious claptrap." So there you go. That's what this man is. It's exactly what I just said, isn't it? This is how he thinks. This is how he perceives the world. This is how he views it. And this is how he's come to these conclusions. And he's saying here, he works with older people, and he gains inspiration saying, you get quite inspired and uplifted by the elderly folk who see this as quite a practical approach, He no longer believed voluntary euthanasia should be available to the terminally ill, but the elderly people afraid of getting old and incapacitated should also have a choice. So even if there's nothing wrong with you, he believes, well, if you're old and just don't want to get older and end up potentially suffering, why not just end it now while you're at your peak, So when you think about that, this is where he's like crossing a line here. It's kind of, hang on. An otherwise perfectly healthy person who's old does not need to die. It's kind of now you're trying to sell death to people. You're trying to convince them it's the right thing to do. And when people have these type of worldviews, and he says here, I really don't care if the law is changed or not. A growing number of people importing their own euthanasia drugs will always happen. People are always going to kill themselves. When you have this such of a passive, apathetic, blasé view towards murdering yourself and others, it's kind of something serious. I don't feel like your intentions maybe are good when this is how cavalier you are about these things. Oh, you're old. You're going to start suffering soon, right? Why don't you just die now before that kicks in? What are you, 55, 65? It doesn't get any easier, Have you considered just killing yourself? It's kind of, can you hear where logic gets you? It's ridiculous. And it's not necessarily about them living a pain-free life that matters. Who said this life wasn't going to be pain-free? It's about what you do while you're here in spite of the pain. It's about picking up your cross and carrying on regardless of the pain. It's about enduring to the end in God's time because he has a plan for you and plans for you to stick around and be alive long enough to do such a thing. But when you don't have that view and that understanding, then yeah, sure, but just kill yourself now before you had the chance to do perhaps what you were supposed to do, unbeknownst to yourself. Anyway, he has his arguments here. It's like it should be a fundamental right to control their own death, just as the right to control their own life. Having the peaceful pill available for every adult of sound mind. So even adults of sound mind should be able to kill themselves if they wish to. So now we've got back, really, haven't we? We've got back here to the suicide booth situation. Just walk up, pop a coin in, and we'll have you dead and done in no time. Don't worry about it. You know. We'll make it a trouble-free experience for you. We'll take all the work out of it, you know. Yeah. All of this is pretty sad, isn't it? All this is pretty dodgy. So there you go. I'm going to bring that to your attention. Talk about that a little, that depressing topic a little bit. I know it's sad. I know it's horrible. But it's kind of like a macrocosmic example of just kind of the people who are considered avant-garde leaders of society, pushing us to the next steps of where we should be as a progressive civilization. And those next steps should be, we should just be killing ourselves. Like, and that's, when you really think about it, we've lost our minds. It is not a good sign. This is not a good sign that this is currently on the forefront of the zeitgeist of humanity's consciousness, shall we say. These are the conversations we're having now, and these are the laws we're passing. And it's, I don't know. I know it's a bit cliche, but I choose life. Yeah, maybe I'm privileged. Maybe it's easy for me to say at the age of 32, you know, what have I suffered through yet, that type of thing. And yeah, maybe there's something to be said for that too. I'm not naive, you know, I'm not stupid. Like I said, this is not an easy one. I don't have all the correct rebuttals to the moral arguments they give necessarily. And all we can say is, well, it's a slippery slope and it doesn't seem to lead to anything good in the long run. But it's kind of, that argument does not seem good enough in face of immediate suffering, unfortunately. And I suppose this is where the gospel can help, because the gospel brings peace to those who are suffering. Because it explains clearly why this is the situation and what the world that we're in that's fallen and what awaits for us after this, you know. But it's kind of like, you can't cheat yourself there. It's kind of, you got to build up treasures in heaven here while you have the chance. So yeah, I guess that's all I can really say about that. My primitive, backwards, stupid claptrap, as he would describe it, as Nitschke would describe it. It still stands as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So to the chat, let's see who's here. Let's see what's going on. Carmen Smith Struder says, I choose life too. Oh, there we go. Men are castrated. We don't get up to sign up for one last battle, knowing it'll be the last hurrah. We get to shit ourselves on life support for 5+ years while we rack up enormous debts. Yeah, well, yeah, I understand. That is the problem, Peter. Yeah, things are very different today. Certainly. There used to be a time where people went to war for much less. You know, people overthrew governments and hung their leaders for far less. Not that long ago, you know, when in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of I think we're too placated. It's a bread and circus situation. It's a Brave New World situation. We're all drugged up, fat, and oversexed and distracted, you know. And if it isn't the pleasure that's getting us, it's the crippling debt, distractions, and constant decay, and you know, everything, the pressures of civilization and the modern day rat race scenario that we all have to kind of abide by just to survive, barely. They've got us distracted enough to not be able to see or care about the forest for the trees, because right now we're just dealing with trying to get past these bloody trees. You know, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. But I mean, this is why all we can really do is save ourselves. We cannot save the world. And I made a video about that and people got angry. It's kind of like, oh, you're making us passive. You're making us weak. You're giving up. And it's kind of evil men succeed when good people do nothing. It's like, you know, good men should do stuff. We should do what we can when we can in the scenarios. And we should speak our minds and stand up for ourselves and others and the weak and those who can't stand up for themselves. Absolutely do good where good is necessary to do and where it can be done. But it feels like, for all the small mercies and kindnesses our small group of people do in the name of Jesus Christ and our Father in heaven, it's kind of, we are greatly outnumbered in this little season by the opposite, to the point where we can slow it down, but we are not going to stop the inevitable destruction of this corrupted earth. The Gog Magog war will happen whether we like it or not, and you can't save the world. And we can only save souls. We can only save our own soul as well. Jesus is the one that saves people. All we can do is just be signpost lights to point them in the right direction before it's too late. And the good thing about being saved and saving others is that it makes those people's lives and your own life bearable while we're still here. And it makes us useful while we're still here, and otherwise alleviates the mass suffering that this world does contain. And that's just the fact of life. Anyway, Krista Ray, we got Rocky Shepherd here. Great to see you. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that your feet are hurting from neuropathy. Honestly, I am. I mean, look, I know I'm young. I've not got much to complain about, but I have dealt with issues, health issues. People who follow me not long ago know I have hemochromatosis. Prior to a diagnosis, I was in a living nightmare. I couldn't sleep, and when I did sleep, I woke up feeling like I had run a marathon. I could not be rested. I would wake up seized up, or my joints would seize up, and my hands would have curled up like into a claw, and I can't open them. It was absolute agony. I couldn't uncurl my legs or my body. I was in the fetal position every morning. My body had kind of like curled into itself. And I lived like that for like a good year, constantly, like 365 days worth of just agony every morning, not knowing what was wrong, not knowing what was going on. I test after test, in and out of hospital with severe chest pain, like I'm having a heart attack, sweat, pale, nausea, and everything, and just to be sent out of the hospital, like, there's nothing wrong with you, we did an x-ray, everything's fine, go home. And it's kind of, no, everything is not fine. So I've had my moments of fear and pain and misery, and it took a long time to realize I have way too much iron in my body, which is literally rusting inside of me and causing every single symptom that I have, because I can't break down iron. I can't do it. My body just holds on to it and stores it endlessly. Just doesn't stop storing it. It can't get rid of it like a normal person can, because I have a faulty genetic condition inherited from both my parents, which is unavoidable. It just happened to activate in me, and that's it now for the rest of my life. And I know people want to give me unsolicited advice saying this can be cured. Look, I've done what I can. It can't. This is it. This is literally it. This is just the way my body actually functions. I can control it now and alleviate it and prevent it from being overloaded. So I'm in the clear. Thank God. Thank God I got a diagnosis early at the age of 33, because most people don't discover this until they're 50. And by that point, they've had too much damage to their internal organs and they're going to die. It's that simple. They discover that they have hemochromatosis at the age of 50. By that point, their liver is cirrhosis. They have cirrhosis of the liver. They have 10 years, unless they get a liver transplant. Or their lungs have decayed, or their heart valves and everything about it is compromised. And it's just, that's it. And I was lucky that they caught it early enough to avoid any damage. I was getting damaged through the chest pain and everything else, but it's thank God that I caught it early. And that's all I can say. That's all I can say. Even though I suffered greatly in that year, it's through that suffering that made me push to find out what was wrong with me early. So in a way, it kind of worked out, That's my own personal story. So yeah, I've had my bouts with pain. I've suffered migraines my entire life, and it's not just a headache for people who don't know. Look it up. It's far worse. And I guess I've dealt with my own fair share of emotional issues as well. And suicide actually on topic is something personal to me and my own family. We've had a member of our family commit suicide. So I know firsthand the impact that has on people in a big way. But I've also contemplated and thought about why somebody would commit suicide quite heavily as well, trying to come to terms with and understand what happened to my brother and sister's dad. We have a different dad. And so I thought about these things, and I'm highly empathetic to people who are suicidal. Even though I can never fully understand their anguish and their pain, I have a good idea. And I kind of get the gist of what can cause you to end up being in such a state. I do. I really do. But that's why this is really a complicated topic to talk about. And it's not necessarily a conspiratorial topic either, but I do feel like this idea of assisted suicide is wholly a part of the satanic agenda. And they sell it to you with an emotional appeal. And I think this probably has a lot simply more to do with population control more than anything. It's not really about helping the sick. It's about keeping the population down. They're just selling it to us, you know. That's my conspiratorial take on this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not. It's something. It's a gut feeling. It feels off, you know. When you think about it, though, deeply, don't we all kill ourselves with bad habits, addictions, etc.? Yeah, I guess that's why they say pick your poison, you know? Living in this world, like, what? Pick your poison. What's the thing that's going to kill you at the end of all of this? Is it food? Is it eating? You know? Is it promiscuity? Which sin is the one that's going to get you in the end? And it's kind of, you haven't got a choice. Something's going to kill you in this world, whether you like it or not, you know, that's how it's going to go. So I can empathize with that thought process, Carmen, that I can. Nick Ross, I mean, I believe in God devoutly, but I still think it's an option sometimes. I have lived in poverty my whole life, and I'm on the cusp of homelessness constantly, even though I work daily. I'm sorry to hear that, Nick. I am. It's hard. It's hard out there in the world. It really is. Suicide's not the answer, though. It isn't. It's... We need community. We need to help each other. We do. And people have shown me so much kindness whenever we need help. And Nick, if you've got any way people can send you money and help you, then leave a link in the description now, or leave a link in the comment section of this video, and I'll allow the link. You know, sometimes it might end up in a spam folder, but I'll just click allow. And anybody listening, go and help Nick avoid being homeless. So what are we if we can't help each other out in these situations, these scenarios when we need each other? We're a network of Christians. We're a network of people who love each other, right? And I guess this is the thing. Like, there are ways we can be the change in this world to help alleviate people thinking that death is the only way out. Like death, and no, like, I'm wrong. We'll all die eventually, but death before our time is where I think Jesus wept. You know, and this is what caused those problems. Yeah, death is conquered, sure, but God made us to live. That was the point of all of this, to live life and live life more abundantly. You know, to go and subdue the earth and be fruitful and multiply and all of that good stuff. You know, that's what he intended for us, not to get apathetic and nihilistic about pain and just kill ourselves when things get a little bit too hard. I don't think that was his plan for us, to be honest. But again, Nick, I empathize, and again, leave a link to any way anyone could support you in the description of this video. And if anyone's listening to this, go find that link in the description of this video now, or in the comments section of this video now, and help Nick out. You know, just help him out. That's all we can do, okay? I've heard many stories of women who had blanks at a young age and then later in life are haunted by it. Be careful with your choices and what you wish for, says Jeff. Yeah. The name is German, not necessarily Jewish. Oh, you're talking about Nitschke. Yeah. We don't necessarily. I don't know his religious proclivities. I have no idea. In Canada, children can do it without parental consent, just quietly without anyone knowing. Wow, Peter, I didn't know that. That's pretty awful, isn't it? That's actually bad. That's really bad. I could not even bear the thought of my child without me knowing doing that to themselves. I'm going to take a break. Let's play Judas Sargent's song as usual.
tears I cried steadfast as my blood dripped on out. 40 men swore to an oath not to swallow one thing until my death. I'd fight, but it be in your hands. God, my scars are ready to beg, privilege to trust you. I'll worship and stay. Anguish burning in my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to I'd see before I'd ever think this would go down. A second more will keep my knee from above. Yeah. Bowed are my hands beyond bars to chains for you. Sings a sweet song to break free, but I will be home soon. Battered by Euro glide on to get across the sea, and gotta follow my captain in the sky. God, my scars are ready to beg, privilege to trust you. I'll worship and stay at anguish burning in my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to God, my scars are ready to beg, privilege to trust you. I'll worship and stay at anguish burning in my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to
And we're back. Yes, that's Judas Sargent. Yahweh and the Vagabond is the alternative name he goes by. And that one's called Endurance. I think it's fitting for the topic we just discussed there. Maybe we should shift gears a little bit and move on. I was getting a little bit emotional, imagining the future my own children could be living in when these type of things are happening, because they're only young. And who knows what the world's going to be like when they're my age in like 30 years' time. It's absolutely terrifying, like beyond belief. When you're not sleepwalking through life and paying attention. That's probably the best way to describe it. I see Wendy's in the house. Thanks for being here, Wendy. I appreciate it. Everything's been all cool on the moderation front that I can see. Nothing, no major people causing problems or anything at all, which is great to see. But yeah, guys, Nick, as I was saying earlier, if you have a link to Cash App or whatever it is, put that in the comment section now of this video. Just post the link in the comment section now. I'm going to quickly, if you already have done, I can check and I can allow it, if you get what I mean. I can do what I can to make sure that actually goes through. It might just end up in some kind of spam folder, which I have here, which I can look into, which is hell. It's called Hell. They hold comments back for me to say, yeah, go ahead. And if you ever put a link, that's where they go. Links are not allowed to be posted unless I allow it. So Nick, yeah, if you've got anything at all, post a link there and we'll get it through, okay? Yeah, there's nothing there right now that I can see. Just checking here. But if you do have it at all, now's your chance. And obviously anyone can support you and help you avoid homelessness as best as we possibly can as a community. Absolutely. And of course, we should all pray for you as well. I'm not a public prayer. I've never have been. Everyone knows that. I pray behind closed doors in private. But I'll be keeping you in my own prayers, Nick. That's for sure. Anyway, moving on. I was going to go on and talk maybe about the current goings on in the Middle East, because that seems topical and current, and why not just talk about the current thing, okay? Because that's just what everyone else seems to bloody do. But you know, everyone thought World War III is about to happen at any moment. Tensions are going wild, missiles are flying everywhere, you know, big response. And then today it's kind of like, or yesterday, I don't really know when it happened, very recently, it's kind of like we're inundated with Trump has eliminated Iran's potential to create nuclear weapons. What a great day for everybody. Everything's perfect. This is a great day for the free world, you know. I think Netanyahu was literally referencing Numbers 13, how, you know, we can take them, guys, you know, not realizing he's talking about giants. And not long after that passage, the rest of Israel say to Caleb, nah, we're too scared, man. Those things are like way too big. We ain't doing that. So why he referenced that passage of all things, which is a literal Nephilim reference, I have no idea. But it wasn't as much of a hot take or a good look as I think he probably thought it was. Especially not to those of us who are kind of in the know about a little bit of biblical history, you know, what's going on. And then what do we have? We have JD Vance saying this. I've got the, I'll play the clip. I won't play the clip, I'll just play the audio. And I just thought it was funny. He says this.
The big question, is the United States now at war with Iran?
No, we're not at war with Iran, John. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program, and I think the
What the hell does that mean? Oh, no, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. As if Iran's nuclear program is a conscious entity making decisions on its own behalf. It's just politics, isn't it? You know, when I dip my toes slightly into this realm and I just can't help but feel like it's an absolute Masonic distraction puppet show just to keep people locked into the constant cycle of fear of the never-ending, looming, always coming war that's going to destroy us all. And it's kind of, that's not the war you should be looking out for. The war you should be looking forward to, or not forward to, but looking forward in hopes of not getting sucked into, is the Gog-Magog war. And all of these things, all these events, everything we're seeing now is a cover for something. They're probably bombing places in Iran because they're trying to destroy remnants of the millennial reign, no doubt. Anything at all, and there's loads of stuff in that region of the earth that just doesn't fit the narrative that they've been stealing and destroying ever since they started invading that damn place in the 90s, And obviously, ever since they started invading and taking over regions of it since the Balfour Declaration after World War II. They've been doing this for a long time and just removing history because it doesn't fit with the narrative history they're trying to tell for us. That's obviously what's going on. And Cult of Connor said basically something like this in his own post, and I agree with him. Yeah, they're probably using this as a cover story to bomb key areas of history, just to remove it from ever existing, so they can go forth with this humanist, transhumanist, self-control of human evolution agenda towards a better, greener, more sustainable world on our little rock with finite resource nonsense. This is just all theater. Every single bit of it. They're all friends. All these world leaders are fighting each other supposedly. They're all actually friends behind the scene. I ain't buying any of it. It's one giant show. You know I don't know this about the Oddfellows. I've talked about them a few times. They're in my book, and I've laid it out. I don't think people realize what the Oddfellows are. So you have Freemasonry, right? Which is the craft, the Solomonic craft, who basically hide and keep the secrets of the 7 sacred sciences used to control mankind, the secret mystery wisdoms, and through initiatory rites they teach them to the Masons. Once they reach the Master Mason degree, they can go on to higher levels or different clubs like the Shriners perhaps, or the Royal Order of the Jesters. But the Oddfellows is another group, another offshoot. It's a Freemason sisterhood. Well, it's a sister what do you call that? A sister city or a sister foundation? It's kind of of the same family, But they have a distinctly different flavor and style, and their memberships are slightly more unique than just simply that of Freemasonry. Anybody can be a Freemason, but the Oddfellows don't hire simply just anybody off the street. They hire world leaders, kings of countries, and actors and musicians. What an odd group. And shall we look at the list? Let's look at a list of the types of people who have been members of the Oddfellows. Oddfellows, historical members. And they'll tell you this on their website. They don't really hide any of this, by the way. Let me just find a link for this. Independent Order of Oddfellows, Notable Oddfellows. Honestly, these guys are cringe as hell as well. Anybody who even joins these things is an absolute cringe lord to begin with. But these are the types. Look at this portrait. They thought this portrait looked cool. I bet you. It looks so tacky as hell. What the hell even is this? Anyway, this is on the main website. Notable Oddfellows, Independent Order of Oddfellows, the Sovereign Grand Lodge. Blah blah blah. So let's look here. Albert Pike, Confederate Army General, Writers of Morals and Dogma, head of the Scottish Freemasonic Rites, very powerful Freemason. Then you got Baroness. You've got the Grand Master of Louisiana. You've got a member of Congress here. What's this? Famous Western landscape artist, an artist of all people. And then next to that, you've got the 41st U.S. Secretary of State. You got a U.S. Senator. You got a stagecoach driver of all things. That's randomly thrown in there. 55th U.S. Attorney. You've got William McKinley, U.S. President. An English radical and journalist, John Wilkes. Then you've got William Rice, founder of Rice. You've got a tattoo designer, so another artist just thrown in there randomly, right next to a king or a governor of Idaho or a baron. You got ex-presidents. You got Henry Rathbone there. You got John Nance Garner, the 32nd U.S. vice president. You got George W. Wright, a past senator. Speaker of Indiana House of Representatives, the 33rd governor of Indiana. We got a footballer, so in the entertainment industry there. We've got Franklin Roosevelt. We've got Olav V, King of Norway. Harry S. Truman, the 33rd U.S. president. First US female dentist. That's rad. The Kentucky Giants, one of P.T. Barnum's famous sideshow. P.T. Barnum, the guy who invented the three-ring circus, one of his own sideshow freaks, was in there as well. Charlie Chaplin was a member. And don't forget the 19th US president while we're at it. And then we've got Red Skelton, a famous clown. And then we've got another governor. We've got a first lady. We've got... look, can you see the eclectic odd mix here? World leaders. Even Winston Churchill was a member of this. Right next to this dude who's a tattoo artist. Okay? Why world leaders and kings next to showmen and artists and actors? What if there's actually no distinction? What if every single member of this order is an actor? And we just don't realize that because we believe the roles they play on the world stage. But they're not really the king of Sweden. Gustav is just a lad down at the lodge who's been given a script by his own masters, and is playing a role on the world stage, forwarding their agendas, their story, their cover-up likely of the millennial reign. Yeah, seriously, people know this. Warren Harding, another president there as well. Yeah, to be a member of the Odd Fellows, you either have an extreme world pull and be leaders of countries, or an actor who can manipulate people's perceptions through the media. Is it possible they're all just actors? They're all just the same thing. They're all doing the exact same thing. And when Ulysses S. Grant over here wasn't playing the role of the 18th US president, once he died, I'm sure he was reprieved as a new role, perhaps as some entertainer on, I don't know, on the theatre shows in his local area, perhaps. I don't know. They play the role they need to play when they need to play it. This is why I don't buy any of it. Okay, this is just one slight part of my cursory research into all of this. But yeah, they're all actors, man. It's Masonic theatre, every single bit of it. And what we see today on the news, this show they put on for us of world leaders going to war with one another, I can't help but feel it's just more of the same. It's just more of the same. It's just a big show. They're all just having a big, we're not invited to the after show either, you know what I mean? We do not have VIP tickets to watch this thing. In some cases we get to watch through the glass outside if we're lucky, like these guys they're all actors. They're all con artists. And I know that's grand, and everyone who's fully invested in the story will tell me I'm a lunatic for thinking such a thing. And, those who don't take part in these type of things and doesn't vote and all that sort of stuff, well, you have no right to complain. You're too stupid and you'll never change anything because you don't understand what's really going on. You don't watch the news like I do. You don't get involved in politics like I do. You're never going to make anything good happen in this world. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you go play the game of left and right. You go play the Hegelian dialectic. You go and be the good, left wing to go against that right wing of the same bird. You go do that. You go give your sovereignty over to them and play their game and consent to their show. You go be an actor on their stage. Go for it. That's fine. I'm over here. I'm part of a different kingdom. I'm just going by the script that God gave me. I'm going to be fearfully and wonderfully made by him. I'm going to be everything he intended me to be in my life, and I'm not going to have my life dictated to or controlled, or my influence or my decisions dictated by what these actors tell me I should be thinking and feeling. I'm not doing it. Anyway, back to the chat. I'm angry today. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not my usual airy, lighty, laughy, fun self like I usually am today. It's been rough. It's been rough. It's been a rough week, It's been... the whole car situation. We found a car we want. It's the right price. It's the right mileage. It's practical. It's used. It's cheap enough, but not so cheap it's just going to burn out in a few years. It's kind of it's everything's perfect, and it's kind of we have like a week to get the money together. I've borrowed a huge lump sum from my dad, which I'm not happy about, but he got that from his inheritance because my grandma died, his mum died, and that's all. It wasn't much because that got bled dry just for the care home, so whatever was left, I managed to get $4,000 there, which is great. That's useful, but not really enough to buy a replacement for what I need for my family. And then we managed to scrape together what little money we had. And it's kind of, we're going to have to get a loan. We're going to have to literally get about a £5,000 loan here. And we looked at the interest rates. We're like, 6%, that's not bad. We'll end up paying back maybe about £1,000 over 5 years. And we go to apply for the loan. Oh, no, you don't get that rate, Paul. You get 30%. You're paying back $3,000 over 5 years. It's like, we can't afford that. We can't afford those monthly payments. We cannot afford to pay that much interest on such a small loan. It's like, what a kick in the bollocks that was. So, I was desperate, and it was like, well, I have no idea what we're going to do here. We can't get it. We just can't. I'm not getting into debt. I'm not being beholden to the banks like that. I am not in any way paying that much interest to criminals who think that's acceptable. So I asked you guys for help, and you guys have helped greatly, and it's unbelievable. I really don't feel like I deserve it. It's thank you, God. So then when I come online and I'm here and I'm looking at these articles and reading these things, and it's kind of like the world is just beating us down. And I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it with the rest of you. This is a truth or therapy session. This is me getting really therapeutic right now. I'm getting it off my chest so I can get on with my life and pull up my my socks and just get on with it, But I need to vent. Like, this whole place is designed just to crush us. And not the God's creation. I'm talking about the system they've created. And we need a new system. We do. We need a new heavens and earth. This is not sustainable. This has to change. All of this has to change. And I'm sure you all feel it. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir as usual with this. But man, it's been a rough week. On that front, I offered, if anybody wants to help, I'll send you a signed book, and people took up that offer. Some people didn't. They just donated, not wanting the book. Some people did. Of the batch that came in now, I have 4 paperbacks and 1 hardcover left. I told some people I'd sold out of hardcovers because someone else had already said they wanted one. I was waiting for them to get back to me, and they haven't in the end. There's only so long I can really wait. It's kind of got to be a first come, first serve situation here when it comes to these type of things, just because of the way it is. So if anyone is interested in having a hardcover still, who's already messaged me, perhaps message me again. Whoever messaged me first gets to have it. It's that simple, really. But please confirm with me 100% I still have it before you send anything at all. I mean, because I don't have any more. If someone sends me money for hardcover, I can't give you one if I haven't got it, So just bear that in mind if anyone wants the hardcover. But if you want a paperback, 4 available. That should be pretty easy enough. 2 people have said they were interested. And nothing's come through yet, but we'll see. But that's a great way to support me and help me just finish off, help me not to have to get into crippling debts just to have a vehicle to move my family of 2 children and wife around. If you want to help me, help me. If you don't want to help me, don't. That's fine. God provides, and so far it's getting better, and it's the lights at the end of the tunnel, you know what I mean? And it's a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, which I can't. I'm overwhelmed. I'm still overwhelmed. I probably shouldn't even be talking about it. Maybe we'll come back to it at the end of all of this, but it's rough out there. It's a minefield. And you know what? And you know who the worst people to deal with are? Car salesmen. Such slimy bastards, every last one of them on. I just hate them. I hate car salesmen. I cannot stand it. It's kind of everything's just a game. Everything's a lie with them. Everything's just a play. There's no honesty anywhere, And it's kind of I know they're lying to me as well. And I'm talking to people like, stop lying to me. Just stop conning me and adding things on that aren't true or trying to bill me for more stuff. It's just absolutely. Car salesmen are the worst. Sorry to my car salesman audience if they're out there. Be the change you want to see in the world. Convince me car salesmen are good people. Go out there and be a good car salesman. Be an honest one, please. Because it's just terrible. Absolutely terrible. It's been beating us down for centuries, so when are we going to stand up and actually do something about it instead of ignoring it, says Countries Collide? It's a good question. I mean, I think the Cult of Connor has been talking greatly about this, about the kingdom. and what it means to live in the kingdom, and how we can take control of the earth and have a Christian dominion over all things, including even the evil, corrupt, horrible stuff that just needs emptying out and sorting out and getting all the corruption out of it. We can inherit that. We can take that. We can get control of these places if we work for it and get together as a body of Christ and collectively actually make an effort. We could be the people ruling and leading these industries and these places with a good Christian solid foundation and understanding of and a fear of God and righteousness, which should hopefully create a more inducive and positive change in society. Because if we aren't going to lead these things, somebody is, and the people who are right now are all Satanists. Like, would you rather a Christian in control or a Satanist? And he's got some valid points. I can't argue it as good as he can argue it, but yeah, I'm starting to believe that Connor's onto something here. It's just the means to get there cannot be violent. It doesn't work like that. Let's in a way use their own systems against them and force our way through proving ourselves to be the best into the positions where we have sway and power. You know, it's kind of like they have to give us the job because there's no one else better than us to do it. And when they do give us the job, we use our morals and values to make changes, that type of thing. We've got to work at it, you know, and we've got to create a stronger community. We've got to help each other out when we can help each other out. We have to do that. We have to constantly be paying it forward. We have to constantly be giving to one another. If we should have any hope of receiving anything from one another, it's reciprocal. It's one of those type of things. We have to do it. So yeah, watch Cult of Con's recent rant. And I think he's going to do another episode on it soon, he said. I would recommend it. What are we on here? 1 hour 17 so far. It's 25 to 11 for me. It's getting late. No, it's getting late, isn't it? I need to find a better schedule for these live shows. I'm tired. And you know, I love my children, but one of them has learned to roll over, and he's just rolling around the room all over the place. And you can't take your eye off him for a second because he just doesn't want to stay still. And the other one's a 3.5-year-old who's literally acting like a 13-year-old right now, and is just pushing every single button imaginable right in the middle of all. It's just kind of when they're finally asleep. It's kind of, well, I guess I got to go talk about suicide booths. Yeah, it's the joys of being a parent, eh? I wouldn't trade it for the world, though. I'll be honest with you. Always trying to upsell you, even when they know you're on a budget. I know, right? I just say, no, I don't want that. I don't want this. I just want the car. Just give me the damn car. Just give it to me already. Shut up and take my money. It's that type of thing. Just shut up. I don't want to do this. It's a waste of time. All of this is just wasting time. It's a necessity I've got to deal with so I can move on with my life. And it's kind of, they don't see it that way. It's kind of, yeah, but have you considered getting the premium insurance package just in case that thing that probably won't happen does happen? You know, it's kind of, no, I don't care. If that happens, it happens. So what? I don't know. For the fam, says Red Host, $50. Thanks for that. That's really generous. I appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. Life's hard, and none of us accomplish anything on our own. That, amen. Absolutely. We have the same age kids, Paul. I know exactly what you mean, says Peter Hamlet. I know, man. They're a bundle of joy and extreme existential angst and fear and turmoil that they're just going to die at any moment because the idiots don't have any self-preservation skills. It's kind of like, I'm a nervous wreck. My wife will tell you I am like I'm all cool, calm, and collect when it comes to this type of stuff. When it comes to like my children, I'm terrified they're gonna get hurt. I'm the nervous parent, and my wife is like, just let them almost come close to death. Whatever, man. Like, if they're not crying, does it even matter? Like, have they even got hurt? She's way more chilled than I am, and it's kind of, I don't know what happened. I blame my mum. She did this to me. She was a overprotective, nervous wreck, and it's turned me into one. Clearly, I've become my own mother as a parent. I don't know. And these psychological weird things you realize, like I didn't realize I'd be that type of parent till I was a parent. Like it's a learning experience, honestly. Mad Packs, thanks for that, Mad Packs. That's generous too. I appreciate it. Mine is 4 and actively choosing to disobey me, says Marcus. Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not looking forward to the next 2 years. Even a 4-year-old's he's bad enough at 3.5. Like, I can't. Like, the problem is, he's hilarious. That's the problem with kids. Like, they're doing these things which are actively making your blood boil, and you can't shout because it's going to cause psychological trauma. So you got to keep you cool and emotionally regulate, even though no one taught you how to emotionally regulate when you were a kid, because your parents were just out there drinking and partying all the time and living their life better from all the debt they accrued and credit or whatever, And you're there, you kind of trying to keep you cool. But they've done lots of things which are just terrible, and you cannot let it fly. And then they do something that's just so hilarious, like absolutely the funniest thing. And you've got to keep a straight face, and you can't. And then you laugh, and you've ruined everything. So you think, haha, it's okay now. Look at them, they're laughing. There's no problem. It's psychological mind games these children play with you. It's unbelievable. I don't know. It's a. If God's testing me and trying to make me sharpen me with iron or whatever, I think this is one of the ways he's doing it. Like, there's no greater test of a man's patience than a 3.5-year-old, while having a screaming baby who has the scream of a siren when they're slightly hungry and need their bottle. Like, yeah, it's. I wouldn't change it for the world. Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate that. Wow, thanks for the support, everyone. That's really generous. Honestly, thank you so much. It's unbelievable. Thank you. What's this? Oh, J Dream is in the house. Hello, Hugger. Thanks for being here. And again, thanks for the donation as well. You didn't have to do that. I really appreciate it. I think you might have had a problem with your car not so long ago as well. People helped you out, didn't they? I think. But yeah, it's the season of car trouble. Everyone's car's breaking all of a sudden. Krista Ray, my boys are 28, 24 now. Kids are the best for sure and make life better. Yes, they're so fun and funny. That's one way to describe it, isn't it? Absolutely. What a great crowd. Absolutely. I know, right? It's all cool, isn't it? Carmen's just emailed you, by the way. Yeah, I'm talking with Carmen soon. I think it's next week. When are we on the books, Carmen? We're on the books to talk soon, aren't we? About arts. We're going to talk about arts. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fascinating. Let me check my calendar here. I've got you down for next Sunday, the 29th. I'll be talking with Carmen there. Carmen Smith-Struder on her channel. Go check it out if you haven't already. I've already talked with her about the clowns, and I'll be talking with her about modern art and just art in general, creativity for the new channel, Understanding Creativity. If you haven't already checked that out, you should go and check that out. So lots of content on there coming. There's a new one I'm working on, which is going to be there maybe in a week or two, where I talk with Susan Faraday about an occult artist, Georgia O'Keeffe, and her connections to Oppenheimer, of all people, and the atomic bomb. Very odd art history lesson there, which is fascinating and seeped in the occult, that's for sure. Jay Dreamers, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Let's get this man a car. We're on our way. Really, we can't have a loan with extremely high interest looming over us for 5 years, which is what it would take. And you guys have basically taken that away from us. And that's a blessing. I feel blessed for all of it. Words don't really describe the emotions I'm feeling. I can't really do it. I need to sleep is what I need to do. I need to actually just sleep and let my mind and brain and my dreams process everything that's happened over the past few days. It's too bad my son's going to wake me up at 6 a.m, whether I like it or not. Yeah, Paul, they're smarter than they let on. My kids know how to get me to grab all his snacks and toys for him so he doesn't have to grab them himself. We don't anymore. We are in that zone where it's like, you made the mess, you deal with the mess. We're doing natural consequences parenting. It's kind of, rather than punishments, it's kind of like, okay, you want to leave all your toys on the floor? then I guess they just don't get put away. If they don't get put away, that means you can't play with any other toys, you know, and nothing gets done until you tidy up. It's as simple as that. So you just leave the toys everywhere, and just every time they try and play with a new toy, it's like, you can't. You're not allowed. You haven't put this one away. And until they get with the program, you know, it's like the natural consequence of leaving your toys everywhere is that you don't get to play with any other toys. It's working kind of, but I think he's clocked on to what we're doing, and it's kind of like, these guys are playing a game. If they want to play it that way, fine. It's kind of like, I don't care about your consequences. Let them be there. Like, I'll go do something else. It's kind of, they're too smart for their own good. I've posted my link several times, says Nick Ross. Okay, Nick, let me just quickly make sure that's sorted for you, and we'll do a public announcement now to make sure people actually know about this. Let me just quickly refresh. I've got nothing held yet. Can you do me a favor, Nick? Send me the link via an email right now to understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. That's understandingconspiracy@gmail.com, and I will post the link, because YouTube clearly just hold on to them. That's what they seem to do, and they don't let it be revealed or anything until way after the fact. And it might be too late. And while the iron's hot, you know, let's get you something to help support you. So send me the link now in an email, please, Nick, and I will post it in the chat and in the comment sections so people can actually help you out. Okay, right, as it is right now, just after this show and during this show. So yeah, please just send me the link in email. I'll keep an eye out for that. I'll double check in a couple of minutes, and we can share that with everybody. In the toddler and baby club with you, bless your family, says Emmy. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who get it, you know. It's funny because I'm it's my birthday in July the 4th, Independence Day of all days, for whatever that means. And I'm going to turn 33, which is a big, powerful number. It's clearly Illuminati confirmed. Done. I'm turning 33 on the 4th of July, you know. And I don't know, there's something about that, turning 33 and having 2 children. It's kind of, did I think I would be there when I was like in my early 20s? Do I think this is who I would be? And in a way, I've kind of just lived the life my parents lived. My dad had me when he was 30. And it's, yeah, I feel like I've kind of just lived, it just goes in cycles, doesn't it? In some way, but I never thought I'd be here. I didn't think I'd be a family man when I was in my early mid-20s. It's just funny how things work out. It really is. Makes you think. I'm in a retrospective mood because I'm aging. It's what happens. It's what you do. My grandmother would just take all my stuff away from me and leave me in an empty room. That worked on me, says Jeff. Yeah, we're not trying to be cruel. We're not trying to like psychologically scar our children or anything. You know, it's not gentle parenting necessarily. It's more just natural consequences. It's like, well, you do that thing, there's going to be consequences, and whatever the natural consequences are of that, you're going to have to suffer from them. You know, that's what's going to happen to you, and just let them realize that. It's kind of because what parents tend to want to do is stop the thing from happening, so they don't actually have any repercussions from the bad thing they were about to do. You know, because you'd rather not deal with the aftermath. I say let them do that stupid thing and let them see what happens. You know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and let them realize that and learn that lesson the hard way. And it seems to work. Don't make sure they're not in danger. Don't let them do anything that's going to harm them. But there's lots of mini scenarios that can work where they're in no harm whatsoever, no danger whatsoever. Just let them do it. You know, let them see how it's going to work out for them. That type of stuff. Nick has sent it. Excellent. Let me just quickly check, Nick, and I'll post that in the chat now. Yes, here we go. Right, so let me just open this up, sorry. In the chat now, this is the link to Nick Ross's Cash App. Help him out. He's struggling greatly. He's on the brink of being homeless. Let's see if we can't just give him a boost, get him through. Just to see it the next month can mean a lot to so many people. And if we are a community we're a family here, we support each other is what we do. Go and show me some support. Okay, there we go. There's the link. Community work. Do your thing. Help. I hope it helps you out in some way, Nick. I really do. And I'll make sure to put that in the comments section as well for people to help you out if they can help you out as well. So there we go. Yeah. So anyway, guys, what we've been doing. Anyone got any questions while we're here? You know, I've talked about war. I've talked about the suicide pods. I didn't really have much else to talk about. I was contemplating talking about psychedelics, because I feel like I did a talk on psychedelics recently for a documentary and linked in the Nephilim Black Clowns research as well. You know, and that kind of went viral-ish, and it brought in with it a crowd of people who are not usually listening to or paying attention to anything I do on this stuff, so I don't really know where I'm coming from. And I tell people not to take psychedelic drugs, you know, because we're in the middle of a war zone and there's entities on the other side that are not your friends, you know. And I was saying all the usual things I usually say, and there's this. I end up offending a lot of people every time I talk about it. They get really upset about it, like personally anguished over my words. And they leave all these snarky, horrible comments all the time, you know. And I was thinking, like, I can't stop talking about it because it's my past, it's my experiences, it's what I went through, it's what I know, it's the realm and world I understand and know. And I was thinking maybe there's something to be said for it, and maybe more should be said about psychedelics. And I'm wondering if I should maybe do a standalone episode where I just sit down and discuss everything I think and know about it from my own perspective and why I have my views on it and what experiences I actually had and all these type of things. And I maybe haven't got time now because it's an hour and a half through the show, you know. I've got to start wrapping this up soon because it's late for me. But yeah, thinking maybe I will do a show about psychedelics again soon. Because I feel like it's, to summarize quickly, I feel like it's the modern day's answer to spirituality and connection with God. It's what they say you need to do to have any kind of spiritual experience. Like, you need to brute force it through a master key, which is psychedelics, to get to these spirit realms and see these and have these experiences. Missing the point completely that those experiences are actually not necessary to have a relationship with God or to have a good life or to have peace of mind or any of those things. But that's what's sold to the younger generations today, that it's kind of like, oh, you want religion? Yeah, I've got that in a pill form. Do you get what I mean? It's kind of everything's being commodified and kind of like turned into a convenient, quick, fast food situation. You know, it's like fast religion situation. It's kind of like, oh yeah, we got mystical experience over there on aisle 5, just on the top shelf, you know. And it's kind of, I feel like that's kind of what it's becoming and what people think a spiritual experience is. It's kind of seeing through the veil for a minute and looking at some trippy stuff. And it's off the back, I feel like it's going that way off the back of these pretentious people who think they're getting really deep about exploring these astral realms, you know, and coming to, as like, you get these haughty people commenting on my videos like, I've had over 200 experiences with DMT and these entities have never come to me. It's only served to heal me of my traumas, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Come back to me in 15 years' time when you're an emotional wreck and on the brink of suicide. Because that's usually where it actually leads. Because you have a God-shaped hole inside of you that isn't going to be filled by taking psychedelics and entheogens. It might make you feel all good and self-righteous and full of yourself and egotistical for a little bit, even though you think you've lost your ego and you've had your ego death. Which is, by the way, there's nothing more egotistical than claiming to have no ego. Right? Just, it's an oxymoron. But yeah, the truth is, your depression hasn't gone anywhere. It's just been temporarily subsided because you saw something pretty for a little bit. But once that wears off, you'll be realizing it gave you no answers. It solved no problems. It only made your life probably worse than better in many ways. And yeah, you will not be fulfilled spiritually from those experiences in the long run. But in terms of like just like fast food, it will not really solve your problem of hunger. But maybe for about 10 to 15 minutes, it'll taste really good and feel really good, and you'll be happy enough for a little bit. Okay? That's what psychedelics really are when it comes to mystical spiritual experience. You can have more profound mystical spiritual experiences by simply just dreaming. Have a nap. Trust me, it's way better. Like, and more natural. and there's nothing crazy about it. And usually it's in dreams God reaches out to you and talks to you and tells you what you need to do and gives you the signs and symbols necessary to do the inner work you need to do to change and become a better person and heal from those traumas and issues that you're dealing with. And it's kind of, but everyone wants a quick fix, don't they? And I feel like psychedelics are being slowly melded into such a product off the back of the whole I'm a new age guru, shamanistic, mystic, something or other. And they'll seem like cringe, old-fashioned weirdos compared to the new clinical, fresh psychedelic takers which are coming around the corner, who will be more scientific about the situation and, you know, pseudo mystical kind of, but with a realistic, grounded, down-to-earth spin on it all, and a more of a marketing tactic about it while we're at it, you know. But has he got Riz though? It's that type of thing. Like they're trying to polish it into like a product today rather than an experience, which our generation has treated like, you know. Weird things are coming with psychedelics in the future. I can tell you that right now. That's going to play a huge role in all of this agenda. I'm not having it all. Once you feel the bliss of the Lord, no drug can compare, says Saul. Absolutely, I agree. It's pharmakia, sorcery, old as time, says Yoshi. Yeah, it's a classic one, you know, but I feel like, do I have to tell you guys it's pharmakia? Don't we all know that? Aren't we like tired of hearing the same thing over and over again? Yes, it's pharmakia, of course, but we don't have to use that mystical biblical language when talking about it to normal people. We can, great, they'll get there eventually and realize it's all sorcery and witchcraft, yes. But while you need to speak to people on their level, at their language, they just need to hear how absolutely ridiculous it is on a simple logical level, which I think I may have just broken down a bit more there, you know. Yeah. Terence McKenna died in the 50s from brain cancer. He did, yeah, Carmen, he did. And he even died not taking any psychedelics for years prior to that because he believed it would messed him up, basically, and he had a really bad trip and just could not do it ever again. I think he might have regretted in the end his overzealous promotion of those things. Paul, what's your favorite psychedelic? I don't have a favorite psychedelic. I don't think I could. That's not really something I should discuss or say. Like now, I don't consider any of them like my favorite. All of them gave a different experience, and I wouldn't say necessarily they were pleasant either. Well, they weren't bad, but they weren't pleasant, you know. And it's kind of favorite is kind of it's a weird question. It's a weird question, so I don't really know how to answer. I don't have a favorite psychedelic. Did you see how one of the UFO whistleblowers, Matthew Brown, posted something referencing Enochian magic? Nick, no, I'm not sure. Maybe. Sounds like something I listened to years ago, like during my Stephen Greer days and MUFON days and all this type of stuff. Not that I was ever into that, but when I was looking into that, you know, and researching that stuff years ago. Hey, you guys want a good laugh? I found this on Instagram. I'll share it with you. And this is a good one. I forgot these people existed. Okay. But I have been reminded of the types of people that still exist out there in the world, and you just got to see this crap. All right, I don't know how else to explain it. You've just got to see this crap. All right, so let me just get this up on the screen first. So if I press, okay, right. So we'll pause. Let me show you guys can see that center. Okay, listen to these guys. Okay. And just listen. This cheers me up, this stuff.
The Galactics will intervene and not allow World War III. We've been given two guarantees by our galactic guides, by the White Wing Collective of Sirius B and the Royal Feline Tribes of Lyra. A, World War III will not be allowed because if World War III occurs, it'll have catastrophic events that will catapult into the higher dimensions. And God has decreed that this is not allowed.
Yes.
So planet Earth is under divine decree and divine protection known as the Emerald Covenant. So World War III is going to be averted, galactics have said, even if we have to land our spaceships in the front porch of the White House and stop it. The second guarantee they've given us is that the ascension of this planet is guaranteed, which means humanity is going to enter the golden age. We've already entered it.
We're in it.
The only variable is when. That means end of all war. That means end of all poverty and suffering, and food, clothing, shelter, and very glorious timelines and release of technologies that are going to significantly raise our standards of living. And we're going to be entering a very, very glorious timeline for humanity. We're already in it, and it has been guaranteed by the higher dimensions.
It's been guaranteed by the higher dimensions, guys. We're cool. We're in the clear. Don't worry about it. The aliens are not going to allow World War III to happen. That would have catastrophic ripple effects into the higher dimensions. They're just not. Gnostic New Age Jesus is going to come down and go, nope. And then he's going to usher in a new age, a golden age, an age of perfection and enlightenment and spiritual oneness and abundance, and and the promised land will come, and the cat aliens over here, along with the tall blue grey things over there, are going to come down and teach mankind about consciousness expansion. Everything's going to work out. Don't worry about war, guys. Don't worry about it. The aliens have got our backs, bro. It's cool. Those people, man, I forget they exist. And it's kind of like they have no idea what they're talking about, do they? Like what the hell happened? What happened to them? Where can I buy the DVD? Says Mark. You have to pause it and go back and have a look, but it's kind of wow. We're out here on the cutting edge of truth. We're out here really pushing boundaries on what the truth actually is. And we're talking about things like the millennial kingdom of Christ has already come, and we're living in the aftermath of that, and we're in the little season, and that's really on the fringe, cutting edge of truth. Like, to get there is nuts. And then you realize there are these people who think they're talking about anything related to the truth whatsoever, but they're like so far afield in the agenda and have no idea that they are in it. They are the agenda. They are the lies that are being spread on everybody. They are perpetuating the propaganda necessary for the New World Order. And they literally don't know it. They haven't got a clue. They think they're light workers, ushering in a golden age of consciousness. And it's like, what the... Who is that blind? Who has not paid enough attention to end up in that position and be like that? I have no idea how that happened, how it got so bad. Are they just dumb? Are they just like really, really, really low IQ people? Are they just narcissists looking to, like, I don't know, self-aggrandize themselves into godlike position or something like that in their own minds? So they just believe this delusion? I don't understand how people like that exist. Especially in this day and age where information is readily available and you can actually go out there and find out the real truth if you want to. If you pay attention for 1 second... honestly, these people. That's kids. That's your brain on New Age. Be careful. That's all I can say. Gnostic Jesus only wants you to do what thou wilt, Christ the conscious. Exactly, I know, right? Yeah. I'll see you later, Krista Ray. Thanks for being here. Try therapy first. Remember, you can't shop around. You should find a therapist you like. That's the difference, says Amelia. So something's going on there. Crystals and drugs happened to them. I know, right? I never got that far. I was never into that scene. Even when I was doing my own psychedelic phase, I just couldn't stand those people. I couldn't even stand them then. I can't stand them now. It's like they are just. They are something, aren't they? I can't. A low IQ and a lot of weed, says Spirit Walker. Something like that. I see that all around. The sheep think they are woke revolutionaries, but are playing right into Satan's hand. That's what I'm saying. If you self-proclaim yourself a light worker, then you're the furthest thing from that, says Jeff. New Age, old Babylon. That's right. But I like how they're talking about they're being told by their intergalactic brothers and sisters that a golden age is coming. And I find it funny that Satan and Lucifer is promising in the little season that after this time of turmoil in his season is going to come an age of abundance and a millennial reign of sorts. And it's kind of like he is literally pretending to be Christ in this little season by copying what Christ already did about 1,300 years ago. It's during there's going to come tribulation, transformation, and a resurrection and a golden age, 1,000-year reign of Christ for the saints and the people who just perhaps maybe barely survived to repopulate the earth, and rebuild the earth into its glorious kingdom. And then Satan's going to be let loose from the pit, and the little season will begin, and he'll gather an army, and deceive the nations and the rest of it. And it's kind of like they've gone back and like they're doing their own version of that now. And it's, when you think about why they're doing that, it's quite clever, because it means they can now say, well, all religions are the same thing. The Christians are waiting for Christ to return and establish a kingdom, right? Well, so this is what the aliens are telling us is going to happen. And they're saying Jesus is just one of us, bro. Jesus is just one of the ascended masters like we are. You know what I mean? And yeah, his millennial kingdom's about to come, and it's going to be this new age love and light kingdom where everybody's one and one consciousness, and all religions are like, it's kind of, it's a carbon copy of what Christ has already done. And it'll fit in with the futurist narrative because the futurists are awaiting that to happen. Do you get what I mean? So it's kind of like they're playing everybody in a big way. And it's kind of like, we're just going to do what Jesus did in this little season. This is Lucifer. It's like, we'll just do exactly what Jesus did. And we'll promise people we're going to bring our own millennial reign. But to get there, there's going to have to be a war first or something. That's our spin on it, It's kind of like, you're going to have to all come together as one and fight against the evil invading force that wants to destroy your way of life, See that thing that's just suddenly appeared in the north over there? Whatever that is. The Camp of Saints, beloved city, yeah, whatever. It's kind of like, that thing wants to kill us. And we know it wants to stop mankind from advancing evolutionary into the next step of godhood like we are, the ascended masters. You're going to have to fight. Humanity is going to have to fight. It's kind of, you can see how this would all work out in some way. And it's kind of, I know the New Age crew speak a big game about love and light and consciousness and peace and no violence, blah, 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 blah. But I really don't think that's true. I think that the philosophy allows for violence. It's kind of if humanity is one consciousness and there are members of humanity who are holding back the rest of humanity from collectively awakening and becoming one consciousness again, then it's only logical and right and good that we should kill those who are not aligned with the one consciousness of humanity, because that will make humanity stronger collectively. And then we can become like gods. And they don't really die anyway, because we're all one consciousness. We're just popping the balloon of their body, and the air inside of that balloon has now just entered the rest of the air everywhere else, which it was one with to begin with. If anything, the body has just trapped the consciousness essence and disconnected it from the rest. So we're freeing them by killing them. Their worldview allows for genocide. They just don't realize it. And it's not going to take much to justify it and logically square it in their minds when the Palladians turn up and tell them that's what they need to do. It really is. At least our foundation makes it very clear. Thou shalt not kill every life. It's lovingly and fearfully made by God and has a purpose. Okay, that's different. It's not the same belief. It's not the same belief. Fundamentally, it is not the same belief. It's Christianity is diametrically opposed to this nonsense with a G, shall we say. Anyway, I got 10 minutes left, guys. 10 minutes. What do you want from me? What do you want to say? What do you want to? Any got any questions? Any got any of their own little things to say here? Jenny Layton, Tartarian Prepper, asks, how do you get over mental illness without help? Genuine question. I'm stuck in trauma. Can't figure out how to heal. Been trying for decades, but getting nowhere. Can't get therapy even if I want. Well, Jenny, I'm not a licensed therapist. I make that very clear in my intro video. It's in the thumbnail right there. Not a licensed therapist. I cannot legally give you any advice on how to deal with depression and mental illness. Okay, I'd probably be getting in serious trouble if I claim that I was giving you any advice at all that you could follow in that respect. I can give you my opinion, but it's not advice that I'm saying you should take or that I'm right on this. I feel like the best way to move on from past traumas, which can cause serious problems as an adult, and it's not good to hear. It's not easy. It's not something people can easily do either, because it's a difficult, long process. But you need to find it in yourself to forgive, even if you don't think they deserve it. And Christ forgave us in spite of what we did to him. And if he can do that, then we owe it to him to forgive those who have hurt us too. If we don't, the cycle just continues. The trauma cycle continues. That's what I think I have learnt. But I could be wrong. It's not an easy one. It's not. I know, I understand. But you'll get there. You were here to help, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry you're stuck in your trauma. I am. I'm sorry, and I can pray for you. That's the best I can do. I know the way, and for $39.99 a month, I can show you the way, says Jeff Nugent. Yeah, that's definitely what they're like. Who would have known that Gnostic Jesus was Lucy all along? Scooby-Doo moment where they take the mask off. Yeah. A golden age for one is a dark age for the other, vice versa, says J Dreamers. Absolutely, yeah. I can believe it. It's all about semantics at the end of the day. I recommend picking up a long-term hobby with small, scalable goals one can reach over time, says Drunk Wedding Photographer. That's good too. Yeah, keep busy and set realistic goals that you can achieve in short time frames. And if you do enough of them, they add up into a big thing eventually. And that sense of self-worth and of self can come back, even if it's in a small capacity at first. As you build up your confidence doing these small, manageable things, your confidence grows and your sense of self-worth grows, and your ability to be in the world and survive and thrive in the world grows too. But again, this isn't going to get fixed overnight, and these type of things do require work from you, and God willing, he'll be there with you throughout the whole thing. Yeah. Paul, what's your take on human zoos of world fairs? If them covering up for the millennium reign is true. I have no idea what you're talking about, Chris. I don't know what the human zoos are in the world fairs. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I must be behind on some kind of research that's come out or something. The best therapy I can recommend is moving into the woods with no one else around you and take your time to heal, says Countries Collide. Yeah, go isolate yourself and just, yeah, it helps to do these type of things alone. Sometimes. It's also good to have a support network of people who understand and who can listen. Everybody wants to be heard. If you're struggling to find people who will listen, we have a community here who will listen. Go to our Telegram and see if you can just share what you think and feel on there. And we're a loving bunch, we're an open bunch, and people give a fantastic support and advice on there every day. So go and check it out. Diaper wiping grace, says Jeff Nugent. Yeah, I guess so. Opinions are valid. Thank you, Paul. Forgiveness resonates. Yeah, it's hard to forgive people who have seriously done terrible things and will continue to do terrible things. It is. And I know the whole it's for you, not for them forgiveness thing. Like, forgiveness helps you. I know what that sounds like. It's like, oh, shut up. I get it's like, oh, don't tell me that cliche bullshit. Like, those people are horrible and I don't want to forgive them. I get it. I really do. It's not easy. But the cliches are cliches for a reason. It really does. It's freeing to let go of the hate for your enemies. You realize it was doing more damage to you than it was to them, because they don't even know or care that you hate them. They don't even think about you. You're not on their radar. Don't let them live rent free in your head, type of thing. You know what I mean? Because they don't care. They're not thinking about you or having those thoughts or those worries like you are. They're not worth it in that respect. So move on is basically what it fundamentally boils down to. Like, I guess that's what it boils down to. Find a way to forgive and just move on. You don't have to let them back into your life and become best friends with them or anything like this. Where whoever caused the trauma or whatever it is, you just move on. Get on with your life, you know. But it is not easy. No. Wendy says, forgiving those that abused you and caused the trauma is very liberating. Pray you can heal. I know how hard it is. That's right. Wendy understands. Paul, speaking of psychedelics, have you looked into the adrenochrome conspiracy more? I know you've mentioned it before, but now celebs like MGK are admitting it tongue-in-cheek. I know all about that. I can't talk about it much because it'll just flag the censors. But I understand the horribly disgusting process that goes into harvesting such a thing, which I don't even want to think about or talk about right now. And again, I can't, but I know all about it, yes. And I'll have to look into this idea that people are now actually openly talking about it more readily. That's something I'm not aware of. Maybe send me some links in an email to kind of show me what's going on, the latest with that, and I'll see what I can convey in my own mind about it. Drink lots of fluids and try 8 hours of sleep. That's true, you know, to be honest. Like, and this is again, I'm not a therapist. This is not legal medical advice in any way. But you never underestimate the power of a good night's sleep and a snack. Seriously. Like, or just a nap. Like, it can be a game changer in your perspective and attitude. Therapy has made a huge difference. I didn't want to go. Glad I did and have stuck with it. I hated it when I was younger, but found a special woman this time, says Amelia. Yeah, you know, what works for some doesn't work for others. And if it works for you, try therapy, honestly. Like, whatever, don't turn your nose up at anything that has a potential to work. You won't know until you've tried. So I recommend that too. If you think therapy may be an option for you, try it. It can't hurt just to try. What have you got to lose, essentially? I'm sure if you're here in these type of forums, you have a good bullshit radar as well, so you're not going to get deceived or fooled easily or readily, you know, so don't worry too much about it. Yeah, so I mean, be careful with the medications and all that type of thing. You don't want to replace one problem for an addiction, you know. Right, guys, I'm coming up to the hour mark now. I'm probably going to end the show there. I'll just do the closing statements and so forth. Like I said, guys, thank you for all support and help for me and my family. If you want to help any way, shape, or form, you could buy a book. You can ask me for a signed copy. Again, I think I have like 3. Someone's bought one in the meantime. I think I got maybe 3 paperbacks and maybe 1 hardcover, but maybe not. I think people have already emailed me. Email me if you're interested in getting a signed copy, and I'll see what I can do if I have any stock left. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know, but email me and we'll find out, because I'm going to have to check now. And I can get you a signed copy out. That's a great way to help me, and that's just through PayPal. You can also just support me through PayPal if you want to. Patreon's a good way to support me as well. There's many tiered levels on there. There's a minimum access level, which I think is like $7.50 now, thanks to inflation, but that's it. It gets you access to everything. And then there's higher tiers above there if you just want to support me. So that's always an option as well. You can even pay for a year subscription at a slight discount. And that's it. You got access all year to everything. So that's always an option too. There's, like I said, there are ways you can support me. Just go check the links down below. So thanks for that. Make sure to support Nick as well. The link is in the description there. I'll post it again right now if you're listening live. So you can go and support Nick through his cash out. Let's help him make sure he doesn't end up homeless as well. A nice support network there. I'll post that in the comment section. I'll pin it so you can support Nick too if you want to. So there we go, guys. And Connor's here. Course of Con, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. I know you're busy, man. I know you do your thing on your Sundays. That's cool. yeah, guys, I don't think much I can really say. I'm sorry it was a depressing show. I'm sorry the subject matter was so horrible. I'm sorry I got emotional there before the break. It's I'm tired. I just need to go have a nap. I need to sleep. I need to get 8 hours sleep and drink plenty of water. I think that's what I need to do. But thanks for listening, guys. I'll be back soon with more videos as always. On Wednesday, I'll be doing my usual live Q&A. I'll be releasing a talk I've done with Beck from Oz about her experiences soon. I might do a sit-down talk this week about psychedelics and just share what my thoughts on that currently. And I'll be doing another Truth or Therapy session next Sunday after I talk with Carmen Struder on her channel about the art world and the corruption in that too. And on that, make sure to check out Understanding Creativity if you haven't already, my new channel, my new passion project. There's content up on there already and more to come. And I look forward to seeing you over there as well. So, guys, thanks for listening. And as always, God bless.